This is a lovely Deshojo, and I've shown many images of this tree at various times of the year, and especially when spring is just around the corner in early April. It is bright red, but as with all Deshojos, they stay red only for a short while. And now it's the third week in June and the leaves are almost completely green. I'm going to do a video of how I'm going to thin this garden tree. This is a large Deshojo, and it's every bit, I would say, 15 to 16 feet tall, which I would say is about 4 or 5 meters tall, and it's very dense. And the beauty and delicacy of this tree is becoming lost. So as I say, you can't see the wood from the tree, and it is so dense that it is becoming a bit of an eyesore. So I should practice what I preach, and I will get round to thinning this maple. I planted this maple in 1991 because I went and purchased this from a village called Yamagata in Shikoku in southern Japan. That was one of my first or early trips to Japan, and I bought these from this mountain village called Yamagata, where they grew the Tsutsuji azaleas, the ones that are trimmed into round mounded bushes, and maples and pines as well. So this was one of the Deshojos I purchased, and it was only like 1 inch thickness around the stem, and it was no more than like 1.5 meter tall. So over the last, 30 years, this tree has become like 4 or 5 meters high, almost reaching the top of my house. So I'm going to show you how to trim this. So this is the first shot of the tree, and over the next couple of days I'm going to do an exercise in thinning maples in the summertime. When I came to Herons in January 1986, I purchased this house in 85, but we didn't come to January 86 to live in it. The house was already there, very modern house, very modern for its time, because it was built in 1966, so it was 20 years after it was built that we came here. And there was nothing here. The garden was absolutely derelict and very ugly. And I've changed the garden over very many years. I'll try and dig up some old photographs of what this house looked like before I made this Japanese garden. But what I'm wanting to show you now is this great big Hollywood juniper, what they call the Kaizuka juniper. Like most of the trees that we plant in our grounds, I planted them as young plants, and this Kaizuka was no more than, again, about 1 inch in diameter. It was just an ordinary nursery or garden center tree. And when I say 1 inch in diameter, let me show you what 1 inch looks like. It was no thicker than that. I planted it in the ground, and after 30 years, look at the trunk now. It's every bit 2 foot in diameter. Gnarled and old, but I just let this tree grow. It's a bit one-sided because this side, which faces the road, I had to trim the branches off because it was protruding in the road and it was interfering with the cars passing by. So I had to keep it one-sided. But I've got to the stage where I think this tree is really a bit ugly, for want of a better word. That's a polite word to say. It is really ugly. And for a person like me who likes to make everything look nice, this is a bit of a disgrace, I must admit. But my person is such that I've always used this as a source for air layering, so I never have the heart to just hack away branches and discard them. But there comes a point where I can't keep making more and more air layerings. Although the Kaizuka is not used much for bonsai. In Japan, I've seen them use it as garden trees, of course, but sometimes they are used as bonsai. And the Tohoku juniper reminds me a bit of the Kaizuka. So I have used this for bonsai, but I don't think they turn out so nice. So enough of air layering. I'm going to bite the bullet, and I'm now going to show you how I'm going to trim this tree. It is quite a challenge, as you can see. Look at it, branches sprawling all over the place, and to get a nice conical shape out of this tree is going to be quite a challenge. The beauty of the tree really is in the trunk. If I can preserve the trunk and work round the central trunk and make a good shape around that trunk, I think I will have succeeded. So I'm going to now use a lot of brain power and see what I can get out of it. But before I do that, I'll get some of these ugly shrubs out of the way. That wild rose has been climbing through the bushes. I've got these squirrels burying these hazelnuts in the ground, and this is a hazelnut tree that the squirrels buried. I've got some wild hawthorn there, and even a yew seedling is growing there. So lots of wild things are growing there. I'm going to clear it out because it's distracting and I can't see the shape of the tree with all those little wild shrubs growing at the base. So this is going to be an interesting exercise. So this is the tree that I'm going to prune, and as you can see, it's quite dense. And what I need to do is create spaces between the branches so that you can see the layers and that you can see through the trees. So wherever it's dense, I'm going to prune. Very important, remember, to show the trunk. Again, one of the reasons why this tree is so dense is that I always use this for air layering, but as I said recently, I feel I've got too many air layerings and I don't want to do more, so I will now sacrifice a lot of these branches and be happy with just what I have here. All I need is really a pair of secateurs, don't need anything special, and we'll have the saws to do that. To show the trunk, we will now get a lopper. So it's really just like pruning your own bonsai tree. So all the bonsai pruning principles we apply to these trees as well. I'm trying to show the trunk, so someone remarked that, why do you make everything in a pine shape? No, it's not making a pine shape. You're just making it a nice shape. So just because it's triangular, it doesn't mean it's a pine. So don't get that wrong. It's always important to stand back every now and then and look at the tree, because if you don't stand back, you don't get a feel for the tree. You need to get an overall view of the tree. And I know that this is the main entrance, so this is where you see the tree most. But also as you walk around, if you follow me now, then you see that as visitors come this way, this side also needs to be light and airy. So before I start pruning too much from that side, I'll walk around this side and see what I need to take off from this side. The trees are so vigorous that you don't have to worry. There's a lot of growth. And whatever you cut off, or if you cut it wrong, no matter, it will grow again. So now you can see the trunk. You see how nice the trunks are here. All these maples, when they're grown as old make trees, they produce about 1 to 2 meters of growth. If I just show you, this branch here, this one is certainly about 70 centimeter long. This has grown since the end of April. That much has grown. So all these long 70 centimeter long shoots, all this from here to there has grown since the spring. So if you don't keep pruning it, you will soon get overwhelmed by the tree. And in this case, if it grows more, I won't be able to enter my house. Look at this shoot. This is certainly more than 1 meter long. This is all grown this year. From here to there has grown this year. Well, that's just only the middle of June. I'm trying to cut all these vertical growing branches because I want a lot of the branches to be as horizontal as possible. Look at these branches here. There's 1, 2, 3. Now this one going up is too vertical and this is horizontal. So I'm going to probably take out this one and that one. So for that I'm going to use a saw. So I'm always trying to look for horizontal layers as far as possible. Where I can use the lopper I will, but I may need to use the saw. So see, I think I'll try the lopper with doing this one. So such a big lopper and it's effective. Look at that. Okay, let's do it gradually. Let's take this off as well. What a lot of air layings being wasted. Well, let's say we can't win them all. Okay. Very dense there, so I don't have to worry. So this is coming off over here. Pigeon just flew out. We're not even anywhere near quarter way through the tree, and look at the debris we've created. Such a lot of branches. Now let's stand back and see whether we've created some space. There is certainly some space being created there, but the top is still very dense, so we still need to go into the top and create a space. A lot of vertical branches going up there. I'm going to deal with those. This side too is quite dense. Maybe I will deal with this side first. Okay, so I'm now looking to see where it is too dense. I'm going to take the dense bits out. doing. It's a bit windy, so hard to tell. I think that's it. It's big guns still on this side. As I said, there's a lot of controversy about the use of sealant. Some people swear by it, and there are other people who don't believe that it has any effect at all. But if in doubt, just do it. Nothing lost by doing it. Especially with the big cuts. You see, there's a big cut here. Very big cut here. So that could lose moisture. Small cuts are not so critical, but where there's a big cut, it helps to seal them. Some of those original sealants were just developed from tar paint, you know, tar macadam as a paint, so anything that is going to prevent the loss of moisture is fine. So this is the branch I'm going to airlayer. It's a very curly branch. I'm going to airlayer it, and hopefully by the end of the summer it should produce, maybe I'm going to do 2 airlayers from this branch. I'll probably show that as a separate video. To climb up the tree now to see the other ones. I won't show you that. But if you look at it from here now, you can see the structure of the tree, where you can see through the branches. And as people come through, you can see at night when the house is lit, you can see through the branches again. So that is the effect I'm trying to create. And this rose bush, which is a rugosa, when the flowers are finished, I'm going to thin it a bit because you can't see the water basin, you can't see the lantern. But while it's blooming, it's got such a beautiful scent that I thought I'd keep the flowers, but I'm going to thin that branch again. This, by the way, is a seedling maple from one of the seeds that fell here, and it's growing inside the rose bush, and it's become so big in just the space of 5 years. This is a seedling maple which has just grown, a stray seedling. So I think that is as much as I need to do. I may thin a little more, but when it's less windy, I will go up there and do it again. So that is that tree finished. So I will show you another view when I've completely finished. And so if you look at the amount we've pruned, look at it. I think I've taken, it doesn't seem so, but it almost looks like taking half the tree out. Look at all that. Look at all this stuff. Right in front of your very eyes, you see what came off. What a lot of beautiful earrings I could have got off that one, you know, 1 and 2 inches thick, and on that side as well. So certainly I would reckon half the tree has been thinned out. Over there, over there. So this I reckon I do once every 2 years. I don't do it every year. Every other year I do it. And this is how you would prune maple in the middle of summer. There you go. So this is a final shot of the maple pruned You can now see through the tree and you can look at the house. The house is very subtly hidden away. So the pruning has been deliberately done so that you can see a bit of the house. You don't see the entire house, you just see a glimpse of it. So the tree and the house is all part of the landscape that we've tried to create. And this is what gives the very Japanese feeling to the heron's home. I'll just walk around to show you. So the Deishojo trees go through the changes of the season with the different colors, starting with the bright red, which I've shown you on a still picture. And now in the middle of summer, this is Midsummer's Day, 21st June, and this is what the tree looks like. If you can recall what the tree was like before I pruned it, it was very heavy and dense, and I haven't scalped it too much. I just see the beauty of the trunk, and this is how I prune these maple garden trees, all done to complement the house. So I hope you've enjoyed this, and over the next few months I will continue to do more videos of how we prune garden trees.